This is an unprecedented moment in the history of devolution in Wales. And let's not forget why this debate is being held here today. The First Minister accepted a £200,000 donation for his leadership campaign from a company owned by someone who has 2 environmental criminal convictions. The First Minister privately shared that he intended to delete messages from his time as Health Minister during the pandemic, before telling the UK COVID inquiry that he didn't delete any. The First Minister sacked a minister from his government, but refuses to publish any supporting evidence for the sacking, despite the protestations and denials of this minister. This debate today is not merely a difference of political opinion, and this, for me, is about 3 things that are fundamental to the role that we all hold in this chamber, but especially that of the First Minister. And these are about integrity, responsibility, and accountability. Integrity is adherence to moral and ethical principles, a high standard by which we're all expected to abide by, and it's further explained by the Nolan principles which Rhina Piolworth mentioned earlier, such that holders of public office must avoid placing themselves under any obligation to people or organisations that might try inappropriately to influence them in their work. And in public office, we don't just stick to the rules and letter of what is expected. We are expected to hold ourselves and each other to a higher standard of perception and judgment. And it's this pattern of perception and judgment exhibited by the First Minister that is deeply concerning and something that clearly concerns very many people across Wales. This has been compounded because since this motion was first tabled, BBC Wales investigation has revealed that the company who made this donation was linked to a criminal investigation at the time. Despite that criminal investigation, it was judged acceptable to take this significant amounts of money. Likewise, the deletion of WhatsApp messages and the possible accusation of misleading of a public inquiry is very concerning, to say the least. The COVID-19 bereaved families Cymru are a group who have been devastated by this. In a statement they said, "How can we now have any confidence in finding out what happened to our loved ones? It's a heartbreaking blow for the COVID bereaved families here in Wales." After all, people who are suffering, people who are victims, those are who we are here to represent, who we try to do our best for. And to be perceived to be misleading them and the country on an issue of national significance is simply not acceptable. And this is where my second point around responsibility comes into consideration. Because the fact that those messages were revealed allowed the public to see the First Minister's words did not match his actions. And his response to that revelation was to sack a minister who has denied any wrongdoing, yet there has been no evidence made public to support this decision. It could start to paint a picture of someone who isn't willing to take responsibility for their own political actions, but rather blame others. And in this place, we often hear the refrain that we do things differently here in Wales. And I, for one, hope that this is the case. Because I want a type of leadership that is full of integrity, takes responsibility for its actions, and then is accountable for them. And I started with a definition of integrity in my contribution, and I'll end with a definition of accountability, which is acknowledgement of and assumption of responsibility for actions and decisions. And it's clear to me there have been actions taken and decisions made which are nothing to be proud of, and the people of Wales deserve better. I hope members today support higher standards than what we've heard here today in public office and support this motion of no confidence.